Okay, super chat. Hey Ian, how do you handle overthinking or doing something and still be skeptical if you do it or not? Very good question. Very good question. So basically, how do you get over analysis paralysis? So I think this can be summed up very simply. The only thing that matters is action and execution. Everything else is just pontificating, right? You don't. Your job is not to pontificate. Your job is not to just think about all the possible scenarios, right? Your job is to execute. And one way of thinking about this is, it's better to execute quickly and be 80% right than to take forever and be 100% right, because you'll be late. You'll be too late, right? So your job is not to be perfect. Like, the whole notion of perfection, throw it out the window with the bathwater. Your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to be efficient and effective. Like, for example, like even with these live streams, honestly, these are not perfect. And if I had a bar of having these live streams be perfect, I would do a lot less of these live streams, to be honest. But because I set the bar so low that my job is just to show up, right? Like, honestly, like even today, like I just showed up. No planning, no nothing. Showed up. Bill's off today. I forgot to tell him, right? And to tell all you guys. But the bar is so low, it's just to show up, right? Because if you just show up, basically take action, execute, the rest will kind of take care of itself. That's kind of my philosophy in life, is to just show up. Show up, take action, and act, right? And the job isn't to be perfect. The job is to just be 80% of the way there. Because perfection will paralyze you with fear, with all the possibilities. And you'll never act. You'll always second guess yourself. You'll always doubt yourself. Every move you're making, you'll second guess it, right? There's also a quote from Robert Greene from the 48 Laws of Power about this. Let me see if I can find this. Robert Greene, 48 Laws. Because this is actually, I read this book back in college. Great book, by the way. I highly recommend it. A very long book. But let me see if I can get one of the quotes here. Because I read this as a kid. Well, actually, in college, I mean. And it was pretty helpful. So let me share this. Okay, so I think it's called Bold. Right here. Law number 28. Enter action with boldness. The bolder lie, the better. Lion circle the hesitant prey. Boldness strikes fear. Fear creates authority. Going halfway with half a heart digs a deeper grave. Hesitation creates gaps. Boldness obliterates them. Audacity separates you from the herd. When you are small and obscure, as David was, you must find a Goliath to attack. But basically, enter action with boldness. This summary is not really the best, but basically, if you enter bold, if you enter boldly, basically without overthinking things, any mistakes you make can be rectified and solved by being more bold, right? By just taking more action, right? So, Mike Tyson had a quote for this, right? Everybody has a plan until they get hit, right? So that's why I don't really spend too much time planning, because whatever you plan will never go according to plan. So if anything, you have to be comfortable with the unknown. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable improvising, right? So I think that's probably what I'm best at. I'm comfortable improvising. I'm comfortable with the unknown. It's both my strength and my weakness, right? It's my weakness in the sense that I don't plan too well, right? Like in terms of operationals, I mean, having operations and planning things, that's not me. But I also know that's not my personality. That's not my psyche, because I'm a visionary. I like thinking big picture. So sitting down and planning things out A to Z, my personality just hates that, right? I can't really just sit still and just plan things out. I mean, on occasion I do, but honestly, I just like going with the flow and just improvising and doing things as I go, right? So Kingston says, yep, be bold. I lost 6 figures being scared in 2016. Yeah. Okay, people who are, I think if you're having issues with the audio, I think it's something with YouTube because nobody else has issues with the audio. I would say maybe reboot your browser or something, but nobody else is having issues. I think it's a few people on some YouTube streams who are having issues, but people on Twitter never else aren't having any issues. But yeah, I mean, basically be bold. Let me see what else. Let me see if I can go deeper, right? One of my mentors a while back told me the way you start is the way you finish. If you start like a champion, you finish like a champion. If you start like a chump, you finish like a chump, right? So the way you begin things is how you end up, right? So if you want to end great, start great, right? So definitely spend your time focused more on the action and not so much on the results even, right? Because the results come by themselves, right? If you're just executing, everything kind of takes care of itself, right? Because being paralyzed means that you don't know what action to take. You have too much. You have too many things going on in your brain, and you have to slow down, right? So in terms of, let's say you don't know what to invest in, right? And you're paralyzed. Take action, right? Just pick anything and get in, right? Now don't go putting in your whole money, but hey, if you don't know what to do, invest in both. Right? If you don't know what to get, which altcoin to get, or whether to get Bitcoin or Ethereum, get both. If you don't know whether to get Polkadot or Cardano, get both. Right? Like it's not so much about the thinking of things, right? What you learn the most is by taking action. You learn by doing, right? And that's why taking action is the best teacher, right? Take action because wisdom comes from making mistakes and knowing what mistakes not to make. Actually, I'm sorry. Wisdom comes from experience, and experience comes from making lots of mistakes, right? So, and you make lots of mistakes by taking a lot of action. And you take a lot of action by not overthinking things, right? So that's basically the mindset I would have. So hope that helps. Alpha Diallo, thank you for the super chat.